Most people have only managed to use a very small part of their available intelligence. And in this video, Eckhart Tolle explains how we can go about achieving true intelligence, a higher form of intelligence which is called wisdom. Let's get into the video and hear what Eckhart has to say about wisdom and intelligence.
React, respond. The way I use them is react means it's a karmically determined reaction. You react out of the conditioning of your mental emotional field. Response implies that you are present and your action is no longer determined by the mental emotional conditioning of the person. There is a higher intelligence, one could say, I call it wisdom, but in other words, there's a higher intelligence that can then operate in your daily life. A higher intelligence, which we could call wisdom. So it's not the conventional intelligence that you can measure in IQ tests. That's a very limited version of intelligence. There's a higher intelligence that comes in through presence, that deals more intelligently with any situation that arises in your life. That's the only possible way of dealing intelligently, is by dealing with the situation through presence. Especially important, of course, in human relationships, because there's so much unconsciousness that happens in the interaction between human beings, between two human beings and larger numbers of human beings, and then groups of your collectives of your millions of human beings here and another million there and there. You can see when you look at politics and affairs and so what's happening in the world, there's very little intelligence. The way they deal with things, you're amazed. How can they be so short-sighted? And a much higher intelligence comes in through presence, and that is lacking in the world. There are occasionally, you see, very rarely, you see a politician, actually you can see, oh, this person has some real intelligence and insights. And it's usually not the people who are running things. I've observed it, it's in different countries, to a similar phenomenon. There are a few people here and there who can see clearly where we are going and what we're doing. It's crazy. There is a lack of this higher intelligence that is beyond the egoic mind. And well, at the moment it doesn't look good. Now it's important, when you look at the state of the world, it's important that you do not enter a reactive mode, because that will draw you into unconsciousness. If you watch too much television or current affairs, you will be drawn into, most likely, unconsciousness, unless you watch it as an anthropological study of how misguided humanity can be. So you need to stay present while you look at all this and see what's happening. Question may arise, shouldn't I be doing something to, well, there may be something you can do, bring some sanity into this world, perhaps through saying something, speaking out, pointing out something, not creating enemies. If you see people are deluded in what they say or do, don't make them into enemies and attack them and say, you are totally crazy. It may be that what they do maybe and probably is dysfunctional and stupid, or the opinions they hold may be extremely misguided and irrational. So you can address the opinions that they hold, their mental positions, and point out the irrationality and so on, without making the people who hold their opinion into enemies. So don't equate the mental positions that people hold with who they essentially are. What humanity is doing now collectively is karma playing itself out. So there's a deep wisdom in what Jesus said, forgive them for they know not what they do. Forgiveness means the realization that they are not responsible, they cannot do otherwise. Also applies to the collective, what all the politicians are doing and so on. They don't know any better. They are in the grip of egoic reactivity and short-sightedness that comes with it and so on. But as is the case with individuals, cannot be held responsible, and yet They have to suffer the consequences of their unconsciousness. This is how humans ultimately awaken. They are not responsible, but they still have to, they create suffering for themselves and others. And through the suffering that's created through by the unconsciousness, an awakening happens. So in other words, the ego is necessary for the awakening to happen. The ego ultimately self-destructs. It has built into it a self-destruct function. That is ultimate wisdom. You are here to represent, to embody the higher intelligence. Everything that happens in the service of the evolution of consciousness, even in your own life. And if it applies in your own life, it also applies to the collective of humanity.
I really hope that you find this video interesting and you manage to gain some knowledge from this topic. If you do, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed.